What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Shadowlands video. How's everybody doing? Oh my god, that's hot. Um, grab a coffee, sit back, relax. Let's have a fun time together. We're gonna talk about Warrior, Fury Warrior. We are continuing the Fury Warrior builds. We've done Kyrian. The Kyrian video was very long, and that's because I was just trying to outline the two basic playstyles that I think are going to be moving into 9.2 for AoE packs. So that's why it was so long. This one won't be quite as long, but we're talking today about Necrolord Fury Warrior. So sit back and relax and get your coffee and get some cookies and pet your dog. I don't know. Your cat? I don't know what you have at home. Any of those things. We're going to look at the what are my notes here? We're going to look at the setup. Spend a couple minutes here just talking about the setup, and then we're going to get into the two different styles. We're going to have the Raging Blow build and the Bonegrinder build. Now, somebody in the comments left a great comment talking about the difference that moving into 9.2, it feels like Bonegrinder will still be the most popular build, simply because of the uncapped AoE of Whirlwind, right? So let's look at Whirlwind really quick here. Um, excuse me. Unleash a Whirlwind of Steel, striking all nearby enemies. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. So this is the uncapped AoE that we got in this patch, in patch 9.1.5, which is fantastic, but it doesn't apply to everything, right? Your next 4 single target abilities will strike up to 4 additional targets. So when you Whirlwind, your next attack will hit 5 enemies. Your main target, and then 4 other enemies. In higher end Mythic Plus, that's not really good enough. Like, it's not terrible. It's not terrible, but it's not ideal. In reality, you want to be hitting like all 10 targets if there's 10 targets in front of you, right? So that's where the Bonegrinder build is probably better, right? If you take Bonegrinder, Merciless Bonegrinder, and do the Bladestorm build and do all that. So, like we talked about in the Kyrian video. So I understand. I want to acknowledge the comment that was made on the last YouTube video and say that I think that that guy's right, that probably moving into 9.2, this doesn't really change. The Bonegrinder build will be very, very strong in AoE because it's uncapped, because Whirlwind's uncapped, and then the secondary effect of Whirlwind is not uncapped. You only hit 5 targets. So if you're doing a Raging Blow focused build, like I'm going to be doing right now in a second, with Hack and Slash instead of Bonegrinder, then you're going to, if your tank pulls 10 people, you're losing value. You're immediately just losing some value compared to Bonegrinder. Now, that being said, Bonegrinder requires Bladestorm, which has to be off cooldown. So the Hack and Slash build that you can run with Rampage and then taking Meat Cleaver, that is a pack to pack to pack. It's always going to do extra damage. You're always going to hit 5 targets, and you're going to be you're not going to have to press Whirlwind as much because you get 4 attacks instead of 2. Whereas the Bonegrinder build requires you to have Bladestorm up and to have it ready to go on a pack, not halfway through a pack. Like, if you're halfway through killing a pack and then Bladestorm comes off cooldown, and then you Bladestorm, and then you only get to spend like 3 or 4 Whirlwinds instead of like 9 or 10, well, you've lost a tremendous amount of value on that Bonegrinder conduit. So, like, there's a lot more setup required, I think, for the Bonegrinder build, which I know good players will be able to figure that out, but I just want there's an important thing to talk about here, which is like ease of execution. This Rampage focused build, this Raging Blow focused build is so much easier to execute than the Bladestorm one. You don't have to think about anything. You just do your normal rotation on every single pack, and you will do more damage. Now, if the Bonegrinder guy has Bladestorm up, they'll do more damage. So just I wanted to acknowledge the comments and say that I do think that he's right. Bonegrinder will be better moving into 9.2. But it's harder to execute, and pack to pack it might not be quite as good. So I don't think that this build, focusing on Raging Blow, is that much worse. Let me put it that way. So Necrolord, what are we getting with Necrolord? Let's jump into Necrolord really quick. So obviously we have the double legendary effect, and for Necrolord it says that Conqueror's Banner affects 1 additional ally. So the base Conqueror's Banner affects 2 allies, but now it'll affect 3. And then every 20 rage you spend while it's active increases the duration of Banner by 0.5 seconds. Cool. So what does Banner even do for us? It gives us 400 mastery, and it gives you 6 rage per second. It also gives you speed, which is not, it's not nothing, but it's not like a necessarily just a straight up DPS increase. But generating 6 rage per second, 400 mastery, and you're going to give it to 3 allies now instead of 2. Interesting. So mastery for Fury Warrior is a little bit temperamental, right? You have to be enraged in order to benefit from mastery. You get no benefit if you're not enraged. That being said, it's not that difficult to get enraged. Here's when I was just doing this fight here. My enrage was up for 85% of this fight that I was just doing, and that fight lasted 3 minutes long. Excuse me. So it's not difficult to keep enrage up. You're going to get lots of bloodthirsts. So not really a problem. So the benefit you're going to be getting from Conqueror's Banner is likely going to be always. You're always going to be benefiting from it. Now, this extension of Conqueror's Banner every 0.5 seconds, that means every Rampage gives you 2 seconds of Conqueror's Banner because Rampage hits 4 times. So that's 0.5 times 4 is 2 seconds. So your Conqueror's Banner will be extended by 2 seconds every time you press Rampage. With Bonegrinder, I just need to say really quickly, I'll get into this in a second when I switch. The Bonegrinder effect is sort of not helping us extend Banner because Whirlwind doesn't spend Fury, Rage. Sorry, it gains Rage. In order to extend Conqueror's Banner, we need to spend Rage, i.e. on Rampage. So if you're doing Merciless Bonegrinder, you're going to first press Bladestorm, then you're going to press Whirlwind like 9 times in a row. None of those times are you pressing Rampage. You might press Rampage once before your Whirlwind rotation, but you're not going to be extending Conqueror's Banner. So the Bonegrinder build doesn't utilize the Conqueror's Banner very well. Let me just put it that way. It just doesn't. I wish it did, but it just doesn't. So this build, though, that we're testing first, right now I'm going to take Reckless Defender. So Rampage. So I'm essentially getting Anger Management for free, and then I'm going to take Reckless Abandon. And we're running with the Raging Blow Conduit here. So Rampage has a chance to give us Raging Blow. This is all about the tier set bonus. As we've seen before, the tier set bonus is all about Raging Blow. So if you don't go down the Merciless Bonegrinder path, then you get this Raging Blow build. And it really digs into the tier set. It really utilizes the tier set. There's never a point in time where you're not pressing Raging Blow. And it also extends Conqueror's Banner much better than the Bonegrinder build does. Let me show it to you. Fleshcraft first. We are playing Plague Divisor Marileth. Let me just say really quick before I get into it. I don't know if he's the best guy. I think he's fine. I think Plague Divisor is perfectly fine. I think there's a case to be made for Bonesmith because you get the crit here. You get the crit here. Every minute you're going to get like 18% more crit, which is disgusting. And then also there's Carver's Eye, which gives you like 600 mastery or 500 mastery when you run into a pack and you're hitting multiple enemies at the same time. So pack to pack to pack, Carver's Eye has a really, really good bonus. And then there's mnemonic equipment, which I've never found to actually be very strong. This looks strong, but it just actually has never been that good. I've actually tested it, doesn't feel that good. But the only problem with going with Bonesmith is if you want to get the crit, you have to dump one of your potencies. Your potencies over here, so you only get 2 potencies. So I don't know. I don't know if that's worth it or not. I'm going Plague Divisor just to test this out, and we are going to take the Conqueror's Banner gives us 16% strength, which is no joke. Recklessness extension, and then we got the Raging Blow Conduit. Okay, everybody ready? Are you ready? So we're going to Recklessness with our charge, and then we're going to press Banner at the same time. So then we're going to spin Rampage. Remember, we get 1, 2, 3, 4 abilities into every window. Now we're extending Conqueror's Banner. Look in the top right hand corner. You can see it being extended. It's at 7 seconds. Every time we Rampage. Now we're going to lose it. Oh, we lost. That's okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. Back finish. 1. Man, it's just a bit of a delay. We keep getting our procs from our tier set. That's why this Raging Blow build's really cool, because we keep getting it. And look, our Reckless Defender gave us Recklessness back, which is awesome. Now we have a 16-second Recklessness going. It's still bugged, by the way, so you don't get the effects of Reckless Abandon, which is the talent that we took, right? You don't get the benefit of that. It turns Raging Blow into Crushing Blow, but it doesn't seem to do it when you get the proc from Raging Blow from the tier set. So I have submitted a bug report. I hope they fix it. There's nothing much else I can do. We're gonna wait for our next Conqueror's Banner to come back. We'll do one more rotation with Conqueror's Banner, and then we will chill. So our legendary is getting us back. It's like anger management, right? It's like having anger management. It gets us back our recklessness without actually having to take anger management, and lets us spec into reckless abandon instead. So okay, we're gonna pop recklessness. Hopefully we'll have it up in time for banner when banner comes back. We just need to get a proc on. Okay, we still have recklessness up. Now we have both. We're gonna go crazy here. One, two, three, four. We keep extending it with every recklessness, or every rampage. Sorry. It's gonna fall off here. That's okay. Okay, there we go. That's it. So that is that breakdown right there. We're running Reckless Defender, so we're getting Rampage has a chance to give us recklessness, reduce the cooldown recklessness, which is the anger management talent. And then we're taking Reckless Abandon to benefit from Crushing Blow. That's the bonus there. Again, it does seem kind of bugged. What we do? We did about we did more than 30. We did 14 overall. It just kind of fell off there at the end because we ran away. But more importantly, let's look at banner uptime. So we had Conqueror's Banner up for almost 40% of that fight, and we have Recklessness up for 61% of that fight, which is super cool. So those are the bonuses you're just getting. Conqueror's Banner, the Mastery. Once again, our Enrage was up for almost 85% once again. So overall, I would say that this build feels very, very smooth, and also it's not like going to have as much AoE probably as the Bonegrinder build, but I do think that it works perfectly fine. I think that it's going to have more consistent pack to pack to pack damage. If you don't have the bone like Bladestorm and Bonegrinder ready to go, then or if you're like halfway through a pack like I was saying and you have to use Bladestorm, then it's just not going to look as good. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say there. But let's switch now to Bladestorm, and we'll do anger management because we're going to take the Whirlwind. We're going to take the Whirlwind Legendary. Let me just put this back on. And I think it's down here. Yep, that one there. Okay. Then we're going to switch this out. Merciless Bonegrinder goes here. Okay. So there you go. We got to run all the way back. Sorry about that, but we'll get there. So now we're obviously going to do the rotation slightly differently, but it'll be charging in with Recklessness, popping Banner, and then getting a Rampage off, and then Bladestorm. We still want the Bladestorm to be enraged. Then we're going to go into our Whirlwind window, and I am going to Rampage once before I get into the Whirlwind window. I want you guys to actually tell me if that's what you would do. You warriors out there. Are you pressing Rampage before you get into your Merciless Bonegrinder window? Like, because after Bladestorm ends, my window is open, but I want to press Rampage at the very start of that so that I get a huge 22% damage boost on my Whirlwinds. Does that make sense? Do you think that's worth it for the first couple of Whirlwinds to have that damage boost, or no? I'm actually not sure. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about that in the comments. Yeah, let me know about that. We're almost back. So that's the first build. Again, I might not be playing it perfectly. I think Necrolord just does lack damage in general. You have to think about what you're giving your friends, though. You're giving 3 people 400 mastery, and that was a long time, right? So, like, sorry, the Conqueror's Banner was up for a minute of that fight. That was a 2.5-minute fight. So, like, you can keep this up for a long time for your allies as well. 400 mastery to other melee classes is no joke. Like, Windwalker Monk, that's a lot of damage. I mean, any melee class that's standing up there with you, that's a ton of damage. So, there's that additional side of it. That Conqueror's Banner is this awesome benefit you can give to your group, and if you love playing that way, then that's wonderful. We probably had it up for like 25 to 30 seconds. It's a 15-second base cooldown, but I think we had it up. I mean, we almost had it up for a minute. So we pressed it twice. So the average amount of time we had Conqueror's Banner up for was 29 seconds instead of the base value of 15. Now, you're going to see with the Bonegrinder build, it's not going to be up as much because we're focused on Whirlwind, not on pressing Rampage in the Whirlwind window. So, okay, we're going to Recklessness. Do I have everything on? Good. Whirlwind, Legendary. We're good. We're going to Recklessness into Banner. So we're going to go... And we're going to spin once. And get Rampage. And go. And we're spinning. Spin, 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 spin. We'll keep going. Now we only get 2 Whirlwind bonuses. 2. Spin again. 1, 2. So... Oh, I messed that up. Man, I'm so bad at this, guys. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. If you don't... I've played this a lot. I just haven't played it recently, so the muscle memory is like... So this is something that I think is really worth discussing, which is to say that outside of the Bonegrinder window, your AoE is worse than somebody who's in the Bonegrinder window, right? You feel me? So like, because I have to press Whirlwind every third ability. Whirlwind, Rampage, Execute, Whirlwind, Rampage. Then I have to go back again. I only get 2 of them. Okay, Bonegrinder's back. We're going to spin. We're going to Rampage and then spin. We're going to spin, 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 spin. Now, look at the cooldowns of Bladestorm and Conqueror's Banner. They're going to be coming back, which is great. Here's what I was thinking, though. Like, if I'm not taking Bonegrinder, then I get to press 4 abilities in my Whirlwind window instead of 2. So instead of every third ability being a Whirlwind, it's every 5th ability. Which to me just feels like we're getting a lot more value because my other abilities do more damage. So, like, I don't know. Pop this. I'm not really sure. I mean, I think you're right. Bonegrinder is good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good. It's just that your AoE actually falls off over time because you have to keep pressing Whirlwind every third ability instead of every 5th ability, right? Okay, Conqueror's Banner. We're going to go right now. Oops, I messed it up. Here we go. Banner. Okay, we're going. Spin into Rampage, into Bladestorm. This is the big combo. Into Rampage, and then we're spinning. Spin, 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 spin. We got Banner going. We got everything going. Now, we can't extend Banner. See how Banner's ticking down? Because we're focused on pressing Whirlwind, which is fine. And that's it. That's the end of the fight. There you go. So, damage was higher. Definitely higher. Maybe 1k higher. What does this guy say?
Where's my wallet?
Yes, I am.
Did that brat just take my wallet? After him.
Testing it. Okay. So, better damage, for sure. I'll give you that. It's definitely better damage on AoE. I think we expected that. Let's look at the uptime on Conqueror's Banner. Only 29% uptime. Here we had... I can't even find it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. 35%. So it's actually pretty close. The difference isn't that great. Here we had Conqueror's Banner up for 44 seconds, and here we had it up for 58 seconds. So that's a little bit longer, but it's not that much of a difference actually. So it's not negligible, but it's not really that much. We had Recklessness up on the first build for almost 60% of the time. And then here we had it for 52%, so not much difference there either. That's mostly about the procs that you're getting from your tier set bonus, so not a lot of difference there. The damage is just better with Merciless Bonegrinder. And of course the cooldown of Bladestorm is only 1 minute, so every other Bladestorm / Bonegrinder window, you're gonna have Conqueror's Banner up. Recklessness is kind of strange because it's a 1.5 minute cooldown, so it falls into a weird category where you're gonna have it on pull, and then you're not gonna have these aren't gonna match up again until like every third Bladestorm, right? Recklessness is 1.5 minutes, so 2 of them would be 3 minutes long. Bladestorm's 1 minute, so you do like Bladestorm plus Banner, and then you do a Bladestorm all by itself, and then your next Bladestorm plus Banner will also have Recklessness. So it's like, sorry, yeah, it'd be like Recklessness, Bladestorm, Banner, then just Bladestorm, then Recklessness Bladestorm banner again. You could sort of do it that way if you want to. But the point is, that AoE is definitely better. That's definitely a much better look. I'm not doing tons of damage anyway, but that's probably just because I'm doing some things wrong. But Bonegrinder is definitely good. I don't know if you would choose to run any of these down here. I also don't know if you would ever choose a different legendary. I think if you're running Bonegrinder, you have to run Seismic Reverberation, right? So that is the two different builds there. What do I think of Conqueror's Banner? Sort of the conclusions here. Conqueror's Banner is good, but it's not as much damage and not as much flexibility as the other, as say Spear of Bastion, which we've already looked at, and it doesn't do as nearly as much damage as the Night Fae ability with Nature's Fury, right? So Ancient Aftershock just hits like an absolute truck. So we're gonna get to that in the next video, but for this one, I did just want to show there's other benefits to having Conqueror's Banner, namely that you get to buff 3 other allies. In Mythic Plus, this is pretty huge. 400 mastery to 3 other allies, and if you can keep extending it with Rampage, that's pretty good. Like, that's a really good amount of mastery. The movement speed is cool as well. 30% movement speed's no joke. Um, but it's about the mastery that you're getting, and you can give it to your allies. And it does generate 6 rage per second. And because we were extending it, it was generating more rage for us, right? So that's another important thing to think about. I actually want to see if the rage gen was better. Let's look at resources really quick. Rage gained 1.5k there. 2.1k, that's better. So you can see it with the Bonegrinder build, you don't generate as much rage because you're not pressing your other buttons. Raging Blow and Crushing Blow generate way more rage. So that's a ridiculous difference, actually. 1.5k generation to 2.1k. Now let's look at my Kyrian stuff. Oh, this is Conqueror's Banner still. So the Kyrian one was different, right? This was Kyrian, and I had Recklessness. Sorry, I had Spear of Bastion. So again, it generates a lot of rage as well. Apparently, maybe that's just because it was doing the different build. Where's the Bone Grinder? There's a Bonegrinder, I bet, right? Yeah, there it is. Interesting. Anyway, not a huge deal, but you can just see that I think if you do go for the Bonegrinder build, you're going to be missing out a little bit on rage generation because it just the other abilities just pump out way more rage than Whirlwind does. But that being said, the damage is good. The Bonegrinder damage is solid. I think you could go either way. You can take Bonegrinder or you can go with a hack and slash build. The Bonegrinder build does not lean into the tier set as much because you're pressing Raging Blow less, but it does more AoE damage. It has a consistent 1 minute blast with Bladestorm plus Whirlwind. It doesn't extend Conqueror's Banner as well, the Bonegrinder build, but that's not really the end of the world. You saw in the stats there that there wasn't that much of a difference, so you can play it and it'll be perfectly fine. That's Necrolord. Unfortunately, it's not as good as the other Covenants are going to be for straight up damage, but you will be able to help your allies and give them more damage. So it depends what you want to do. It's really up to you guys, but that's Necrolord. We're going to move into Night Fae. That's the next video coming up, so stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one.